everyone. So what we're going to go through now is one of the most common tasks that you might need to do, which is putting fluids up and priming the line. Now, just to get started, here's a very typical fluid bag. So this is CSL or Hartmann solution, pretty much one of the most common solutions we'll use in anesthesia, just as a general rule for any kind of maintenance fluids or fluid resuscitation. So a really common crystalloid. The other one's normal saline. Importantly, all the information about this bag is on the bag, so you can see all the different millimoles, grams of solution, the pH, as well as the volume on there. Coming down here, there's two entry ports to this bag. So the first one to note is this one here. You have to uncap before you use the plunger for your fluid line. This little one here that you can see is where you can inject any additives, any other medications you want to include. You can inject through that port there. And all you need is a sharp needle, a hypodermic needle attached to a syringe, and you can syringe anything into there. This is a relatively straightforward fluid line. Now, what you'll notice is that there is a drip chamber here, a port here that you can puncture into the bag. And then there's a number of other features. So you've got a regulating device here to change the speed of flow. And then you've got a one-way valve across here, and then a few points where you can do an infusion or add medications to the patient's fluid. So the first thing I want you to do is close off the fluid. So this roller comes down and that shuts off any kind of flow. The next thing I do is I take this cap off and then I puncture the fluid bag. You'll notice that I've got a bin next to me because you'll almost always in the first attempt have water running through, so you really want to make sure that there's somewhere you can put that as well. Once I've punctured the bag, I then squeeze that drip chamber and that primes it with a little bit of water. So essentially I just use maybe about half of that chamber full of water, like so. Now the next thing I do is I uncap this by just literally unscrewing that. And then I have that over the bin, and the method of priming the line is literally just letting gravity work its way to flush water through the whole of the line. And you can see that now there's no air bubbles. So I'm checking the line, making sure there's no air bubbles. So that line is almost fully primed, except this line has this strange little side port. If you want to prime that, what I do is I clamp off this area, I unscrew this just a little bit, and that allows me to prime this as well. So as you can see, that's a little bit of a tricky situation where I've capped off this part here by just folding it on itself. I've done maybe half a turn of that cap there, and then I'm just going to prime that as well. This has its own clamp, which I can clamp just for safety. Once I've done that, I close this off, and I can either connect that to the line or I can recap this as necessary. And that's how I prime a very simple fluid line. Now, a fluid line with this pump chamber or pump set is a little bit more complicated. It has a lot of the same features, but there's other things that I need to add to this line as well. Now, first of all, I might just get started by, as you remember, getting my bin ready and also taking this roller down to essentially stop any flow that's going to occur. I then undo that bit, and I'm now able to puncture the fluid bag like so and prime the drip chamber. That's all pretty similar to the last one. Again, I prime it till it's about halfway. Now what you'll notice with this fluid line, the first one is this chamber. In this chamber there's a very particular way that you need to fill this, and I'll show you that in a second, but also that this one has just one port where I can access medications that is proximal. So really, a lot of the time what we do is we put this extra attachment called a Heidelberg. So all I'll do, I won't open that now, but essentially I just uncap this and just plug it onto the end, and that allows me to now have another couple of ports where I can give medications and run infusions for the patient. So that's a really cool little device that I'll add on if I need to. So now in terms of priming, I want to get myself ready. I've got this over the bin so I don't create a mess. And now I can hold this roller device in the same hand over the bin. You really wish you had three hands in some of these situations. What I then do to prime this is I turn this and flip this upside down so the water will fill from the bottom of the chamber. If you were to do it this way, you'd just never have it filling the whole chamber, which can be a bit frustrating. So I then undo the roller, and you'll notice that now it's filling up slowly from the bottom. I can speed things up by just pumping like that. Now once the chamber fills up, it's filled now, I can now drop it and just let gravity do its work and essentially make sure that all the air is gone from the line until it, and at that point I reclamp it and that's done, that's all primed.